The biggest battle we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will share concepts, universal laws, and interviewing individuals who have done just that, who have gone through the dark times and through those moments allowed their light to shine bright. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for listening to the podcast and taking this journey with me as we discover different avenues to break through those limits, expand your reality, and evolve into the person you desire to be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This show is sponsored by Empower Your Reality. Empower Your Reality is an online consciousness school that is designed to help you elevate the mind, raise your consciousness, your vibration, to attract and create the reality of what it is that you desire. At Empower Your Reality, we have books, we have online classes. You can find the podcast here on there and other things that can help you elevate and truly learn the art and the science of creating the reality of what it is that you want to experience in your life. So for more information to check out all that we're up to and what we're doing, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. Now, back to the show. What up, guys? This is Dr. Vic, and you are listening to another weekly episode with me here on the Mindful Experiment. If you're new to the show, once a week, there is a podcast release where I'll share something. It's short. It's about 10, 15 minutes is where I try to keep it, about something of an ideology or something I was talking about with a coaching client, or just something I feel that is pressed upon me to share with you to help inspire your life in some way, shape, or form. Then on Fridays, we release an interview. So every Friday, we have an interview of someone who's sharing a concept of something of the fabric of life, of how it relates to the essence of the mind and how it plays a role in your life and how it can just add to your life. And so this podcast is very universal. So it's not, when you look at the mind can be used in so many different ways. It's very universal, right? Because if you change the mindset in one area, you can take that and share it in others. And so there's really aspects to it. So check it out. If you have been subscribed, appreciate that. Thank you for your support. It means the world to us as we are trying to get these messages out there to help individuals thrive, especially after a year of 2020. These concepts will be massively able to help you and so much more. In today's episode, I was really pressed within to talk about the sharpening of a knife. I was on an interview and I was being asked about certain things for business owners and entrepreneurs. And it was the concept that came to me is about we have to sharpen the knife consistently all the time. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you look at this from a chef's perspective, a chef, before they take their knives out, they always have their own set. And they'll sharpen their knives, right? Before they go into cuts and doing what they're doing. And then when they wash the knife at the end, when they're done, they dry it and they resharp it one more time, give it a wipe, put it away. That's why it's never dull and it's always ready, okay? Now, when it comes to your life and practicing and doing what you need to do, are you sharpening the knife? Are you practicing on your skills? Are you building up your reserves? Are you keeping yourself centered regardless of how chaotic the world's showing up? These are the things that you want to look at because these are sharpening the knife, right? Every single day, I sharpen the knife. I take care of myself through a breathwork, some meditation. I'm always taking care to make sure that I'm ready to go. Regardless if I have an easy day where there's not much going on, or I have a high demand day, I am doing the same thing regardless what shows up. And the reason being is because I always want to be ready. The other thing about sharpening a knife, though, is it keeps you focused. It doesn't let you get distracted from the noise, right? 2020 was a lot of noise. We had a political year. We had COVID. We had, you got different mixed messages from mainstream media, making it seem like the end of the world's coming. And they're just so much on the pushing of the fear, so many distractions, okay? But at the same token, if you stayed centered and focused, you wouldn't have put your energy to that. And you would have noticed in your life, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, whatever it may be, you would have noticed things have grown. You don't have to believe me on this, because just take a look at the billionaires, the most wealthiest billionaires, and you're going to see that their income drastically expanded during the COVID lockdowns and so much more. And there's a reason behind that, right? They kept focus regardless. And I've learned this principle in stocks, because they say that when there's blood on the street, this is when you buy. I forget, I don't know the exact quote from Rothschild, but what that means is that when the stocks are draining like crazy, and that is the time you want to buy in, because that means eventually when they come back up, you're going to make 2, 3, 4, 5 fold of what you had before. And so I've learned that principle because in my life, it's the same concept where I can stay focused and see the opportunities rather than get caught up in the noise and miss the opportunities. And so this is where the sharpening process happens. So if you're looking at your life and saying, what does he mean by sharpening the knife? Every morning, what do you do to build up your tank and get yourself focused? What are the things that you're doing every day to make sure that you are centered, that you show up your best version of you, right? You got to be doing something. And so for me, I do things in a different aspect, but for me, it's always been eating good, right? I want to make sure I got good nutrition in my body. I want to make sure I'm taking good. I have a tea every morning, and I put herbs in there and stuff, and to help me with my brain and just get me going for the morning. It's not it. I don't need the caffeine. I have enough energy as it is. It's more of just things that are going to help aid my body in the long run, right? Brain health, heart health, and immune system, all these different things. And then I do breath work. Breath work is something to help me center and get calm and be focused. And then I meditate afterwards. And then from there, I kind of set my intention for the day of what I need to do, and I get to work. And I just do the most biggest priority things that I need, that are necessary for me to have a successful day. And then afterwards, somewhere in my midday, I will work out, right? Got to sharpen the body too. Got to keep it ready, keep it resilient. And so this body needs to be worked. The body likes to be stressed in the sense of when it comes to working out. And because you can't you can't not stress the body and still keep it young, active, and in shape. It just doesn't work that way. And so you got to stress it. And it's good for a lot of reasons. From a health perspective, it's, working out is amazing. It's good for the mind, it's good for the body, good for the heart, but it's just good to keep you centered and focused too. And it gets this excess energy out. And so that's what I'll do pretty much for the day. And those are the things that I keep myself centered and focused so that I'm always ready to go every single day, no matter what shows up. And these are things that you want to cultivate. If you don't do any of this, don't try to go be like, oh my God, I have to do all of these things now. Too many times we do that, and you're just setting yourself up for failure. What I usually recommend is go ahead and take a moment and just do one thing, right? Just do one thing. Think of it as a long-term game. Don't think of this as something short-term. We get too caught up in the short-term and we don't focus on the long-term, right? That's why people do New Year's resolutions. And by the time it starts, 92% of the people fail. It's because you're thinking short-term. Oh, this is what I got to do. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to do this. Well, how about if you just take one habit and just do that? And then you can make a map of all the other things you want to do, but just take one at a time and just do that. What would happen then? Right? It's a game changer. It starts to change the game. And so that is how you create critical long-term. And that is how you become absolutely amazing, because now you compound. You learn one thing, you add another to it, and you add another to it, and you add another to it. At the end of the year, you may have learned 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 12 new things that helped you expand and grow and evolve in your life. Now you're going to take all that knowledge, all that wisdom, because you applied it to life, which gives you wisdom. And then you're going to go ahead and add it to the next year with new things you're going to be adding. And it can be as simple as 4 things or whatever that may be. And guys, I'm sharing this with you because I was the type of individual who read 80 to 120 books a year, did it for 3 years straight. And it was one of those things where I thought, oh my God, I got to keep consuming, right? It's all about the more I can consume, the more I can read, the more I can do this, the better I become. Knowledge is power. That is what makes you become more successful. So I'm just going to keep studying and just go crazy. Now, I learned a lot in that process. I didn't learn wisdom. I learned information. But what was interesting, though, is that now in my life, I'll read 12 to 24 books, roughly a year, give or take. There's not really a number to it. It's whatever my interests are that I need to focus on, or something I want to craft, something I want to get better at. And sometimes I'll just choose one topic and use that for the whole year. But it's how do I perfect and get better at what I'm doing, or things that I need to work on with my life. And that's different areas. It's not just business. It's also mindset, health, right? I'm always studying health every week. Great. Sharpening the knife. I want to stay on top of the research. I want to stay on top of everything to see what's new, what's coming out, and how can I help my patients and be better for them as a doctor? Because the more wisdom and information I have, the better I can help them. But also, I can help myself, right? Because it's they always say a doctor's journey really is about helping. Well, at least in chiropractic, it's we got into it because we had an issue, and chiropractic helped us. And then from there, we want to learn how to become better and how to solve that. And so then that's where interests come. Not always like that. If you're like me, I like to learn everything as much as I can. But again, it's how do you sharpen that knife to keep it sharp at all time and never let it get dull. This is a neurological principle, guys, because when you go ahead and from a neurological standpoint, how the brain works, if you stop using a part of the brain, you lose it, right? Stop using a muscle after a certain period of time, it atrophies, you lose it, right? Law of the body. What you don't use, you lose. That's basically what I'm sharing with you guys, but I'm putting it in the principle and context of your life and the things you work on and do. So sometimes when I'm talking with certain people or patients will ask me stuff about stats when it comes to what's been going on in the last year, COVID, this stuff. Some of them are like, they'll see me just spew numbers out like crazy. And I'll have a systematic approach on how I explain it and different stuff in that nature. And they're like, how do you know all this? And I'm like, it's because I've been researching endlessly since the end of February 2020. And I've been keeping up on this and looking at all the research that's possibly out there that I can get my hands on and talking with different chiropractors and doctors and infectious specialists and so much more to be that better position to really understand what is this, what's the threat, and how can I help educate my patients so that they don't have to get so much stuck in the fear aspect. And so that's the kind of concept, but that's just in health, right? I do this in mindset. I'm always reading, learning new tricks and tips of how the mind works. What are some things I want to learn? And how can I help teach my clients when it comes to that and be able to help them in that journey? So these are just examples, guys, but it's constantly learning, expanding, and evolving, which is sharpening the knife. And the more you do this, the better you become in the sense of understanding the material, having more wisdom, and you become more, I don't like to use this word, but an expert in that field. And this is where you start to create mastery. And once you master something, there's a vibration to that. I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but there's a vibration when you talk to someone who has mastery than to someone who doesn't. It's a hugely different experience. And I've seen this in the financial sector. I've seen this in health. Many different doctors that I've been around from a chiropractic standpoint and so forth. When they own something and they're a master at it, their vibe and their energy is so different compared to those who don't. And you want to be at that level of mastery because that will shine and rise. Think of someone, and you can think of someone right now. Think of them who you would think is a master at what they do, right? Think about that. Now, take that and now think about what are the attributes of what they do? How do they come off? Are they sad, depressed? Are they happy, vibrant, right? And you start looking at that. And all of a sudden you start to go, there's something about that person. I like something about them, or I like them, right? Because we get magnetically pulled to people that are vibing at a higher level. It's just a natural essence. And so this is why I learned the statement of when you're on fire, people are going to come and watch you burn. And what that means is when you're really passionate about something, people are going to want to come because they're attracted to that energy. And so that's the concept of what you can do in your life and how you can sharpen the mind. So this is what I recommend for you guys. Practice, have fun with it. But one of the things is start with one. That's what you want to do. And then you take it from there and continue to move forward. And I promise you, you will see massive differences in your life. And it pays dividends, okay? Return on investment, ROIs. The more you do this, the more you practice this, the more you keep sharpening that mind, the more it's going to pay back to you. The only thing is you got to be patient because it doesn't come instantly. This takes some time and process. So have fun with this. Any questions you have, please let me know. But as always, I appreciate you guys being on the show and watching. Please leave a review. Let us know what you think. And we'll see. Until next time, I'll be talking to you guys on the next episode. Thank you for listening to the podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you on the journey to rediscover who you really are. To connect with us on Facebook, please visit www.facebook.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. Check us out on Twitter. The handle is Dr. Vic 21. Follow us on Instagram, www.instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. If you were inspired by the podcast, pay it forward by sharing it with someone who you know can benefit from it. Thank you again for listening to the Mindful Experiment podcast, sharing paths to help you rediscover your infinite potential.